Hey everyone, I wanted to come on and do a little bit of just, a casual kind of get ready with me. And yeah, just because I got off work early today and don't really have anything to do. We've got about 2 hours until sunset, so hopefully we can get everything done and accomplished before it gets too dark in here. But I thought it'd be fun to just sit down, play with some makeup, and chat. I want to do something sort of, something festive, maybe a little bit. Something kind of bronzy on the eyes, and then a nice kind of like dark lip of some kind. So we're just gonna take off and see how it goes. I have a couple of old products that I really want to play with again today, and I also have a couple of new products that I want to talk about as well. So let's jump in. I really want to start with the eyes today, just to kind of be able to blow things out and make them really nice and intense. So I'm going to take my concealer that we're going to use on the face, and I'm just going to block out my eyelids a little bit just to cancel out discoloration. I'm going to make sure when I apply this, not only to do it on the lid, but a little bit kind of around this outer corner right here and into this inner corner as well. So guys, it is post-Thanksgiving and I have just had a great time relaxing with family. My family lives in Washington and they came down to visit. So it was really fun. We just got to hang out for almost the whole week and just relax and eat a ton of food. It was wonderful. I'm gonna take my translucent powder and just kind of set down that primer or that concealer a little bit so that we get a nice easy blend. Then I want to go into the Desi X Katy Friendcation palette because of the beautiful kind of warm tone brown that we've got going on. I really just want to use some of these today. So I'm going to start with a big giant fluffy brush, and I'm going to go into this first shade right here, which is really light. It probably could be someone's skin tone shade, but I'm hoping this will lay down kind of a starter transition shade for that upper crease area like we always start. This brush may also have other product on it because this is coming off a lot darker than what I thought it was going to be. These shades are nice and pigmented though, so maybe that's why. And because we don't have any face makeup on, I'm really going to blow this out on the outer corner and just all over the place. I just really want a nice just wash of color everywhere. So yes, I hope everyone had a great time with their families. I really feel like we didn't do too much. We sat around, we ate a lot of food. On Wednesday night before Thanksgiving, we do pie night where we just eat pie for dinner. Because usually on Thanksgiving, you just are so into the food that you don't take time or room in your stomach for dessert. And so we like to just have a whole night dedicated to pie so that we can really enjoy the yumminess of pie. So we eat pie for dinner and that's it, and it's amazing. That shade actually built up quite a bit and I'm really happy about it. I'm gonna take the same shade on the lower lash line and just buff that pretty low down. I love when I don't have face makeup on yet because I can just not worry about fallout at all and just go crazy. Here is the next shade we're gonna go in with on a little bit of a smaller brush, but still something nice and fluffy. And I'm gonna take this sort of in that same area and just really blow this out as well. We also went to see Frozen 2, which was really fun. Took my little sister and my nephew, who's like 2.5, I think, and he loves movies. It is the cutest thing ever. He gets so into it. When there's like a scary part, he'll cover his eyes, he'll laugh really loud, he'll get sad when there's sad things going on, and it's like the cutest thing. We took them and they loved it. It was really fun. You know, Frozen is good, don't get me wrong, but it's not my favorite movie. I don't know what it is about it. Like something just feels like the storyline's trying too hard maybe or something. I can't figure out what it is about it to me, but I sort of like it and I sort of hate it at the same time. But the movie was good. I'm gonna take that same shade under the eye. I love how much these shadows can kind of change color depending on how much you add to the eyes. They can start off super soft, and then they almost, as you build up the pigment, just change into a new beautiful color. So I love that. So anyway, I hope everybody had a great time with their families for the holidays. We had a great time. It was so fun. I'm sad my family's gone now and we're back to the grind, but just a few more weeks and then Christmas. I can't even believe it. Next, I usually don't go quite this warm tone, but I think I'm gonna take this nice kind of warm brown shade right here on a little bit of a smaller brush and start this kind of on this outer corner here. And I'm really just gonna work on layering that pigment up nice and evenly on this outer corner and buffing it out as well. And we'll go back through this area with the transition shades that we used before to kind of clean that up a little bit as well. So no worries if that starts looking a little crazy. I did a lot of Black Friday shopping, which was very unintentional. We didn't go anywhere, but I bought a lot of stupid stuff online. Not really stupid stuff, really. I just got a lot all at once, you know, and you start getting like, I don't know, it's overwhelming, I guess, a little bit to an extent. But I bought things that I had been needing. I'm gonna take that same shade under the lash line on a pencil brush. And I'm gonna do this one inner to outer corner, even though on the top lash line, we only did it on kind of the outer half of the eye. I'm taking this all over, but that's just my preference in general. I really, really like a smoky lower lash line. We also got Disney Plus, finally, which I'm so excited for. I'm gonna run back through those transition shades and just really clean up these outer corners over here. Yeah, I didn't think we were gonna get it, at least for a while, but Zach the other day just was like, we should get it. And I was like, okay. So we got it last night, actually. He said it would be our Christmas present to each other, but that's not really fair because I'm the only one who really cares about it. I know that he likes it or whatever, but he would not have bought it if it hadn't been for me. So I kind of feel like now I'm obligated to get him a different Christmas present, which is super stressful. So now I have to figure out what to get him, and I just have no idea. If you guys know what to get the men in your life that are kind of hard to shop for, then please let me know because I need some help. Okay, I know it's looking really crazy and out there right now, but it's gonna get a lot better once we do the rest of the face. So it's okay. Since we're going all out, I feel like anyways, I'm just going to take the darkest shade in this palette, and I'm gonna start pushing this into the outer corner as well, just to deepen it up a little bit. With those other shades, I kind of like let them blend and buff out and fluff out everywhere. But with this one, I'm gonna keep it a little bit more concentrated to the lid and just a little bit into that crease. We'll still have to blend out the edges in a second, but it'll be a little safer that way. Wow, it looks crazy right now. Going back over the edges with all those transition shades that we already used, I'm just gonna use kind of like circular motions to really buff and blend that out. So yeah, I love Disney movies. I've always loved them. My little sister has autism. I feel like I should say that because all my stories about her will make a lot more sense if you know that. She will watch the same movie, I am not even kidding you, like 100 times. And she'll start and stop and pause and do the same scene over and over again. So it's just always been Disney movies forever and ever in my whole life. And I just love them because of it and feel like I can quote them all and I just love them so much. So having that will be really fun for me personally. Okay, now that I have that down, what I'm feeling like doing is just taking this same shade that we were using before, the second darkest brown, and putting this all over the lid, actually. I wasn't thinking I was gonna do this, but I'm going to now. I don't know, I just decided. Just go with it. And that got real dark, but that's okay. We'll just take this brush with no extra product on it and sort of buff it out. I'm gonna take a clean, fluffy blending brush and a foundation powder and just go along the edges of what I've been doing just to kind of clean them up a little bit because the shadow did get pretty high up, and while I do want it buffed and blown out, I don't want it to look like, you know, I've got eyeshadow all the way up into my eyebrows, which I currently do. This will just kind of tone it back a little bit along those edges. I'm just gonna make sure that lid shade is all kind of one even shade, that nothing is patchy. The other thing I didn't do is take that deep dark brown and put it under the lash line, so I'm going to do that really quick as well. Might look a little crazy on camera still, but it's looking a lot better in person. So I'm just going to keep moving forward and kind of see where this ends up. What I want to do is take this ColourPop Super Shock Shadow in the shade Ritz. It's more of just kind of a toppery shade. It's got some silver, some gold sort of shift to it. And I'm just going to apply this on the inner part of the lid just to give like a little bit of a wash of glitter. I really love this shade layered over top of other shades. It's really pretty on its own too if you don't really have anything else going on and you want something really, really subtle, because this doesn't really have a base color to it, but if you want to wear it with, you know, a full makeup look, it's better kind of over top of another shade. I could have probably also used Just a Kiss from this same palette, because this is really just, it's like glitter reflex with no base. So it's sort of the same idea, but these glitter flecks are a little bit bigger and I wanted something that was a little bit softer and just like shimmery instead of big chunks of glitter. But maybe we'll still add a little bit of that in later as well. I don't know yet. So that's where we're gonna leave it for now. I'm just gonna wipe off some of that glitter that fell down though, because there was still a little bit. And I'll sort of kind of use this makeup wipe to start cleaning up and defining what the edge of my eyeshadow is going to look like, even though we'll do most of that with my concealer later. Oh wow, I think I got more glitter on my face. Looks good. Now going into the skin, I think is where I want to go. Yes. Even though it would look a lot better if I filled in my eyebrows, I think I'm going to go with skin first, because then when I'm going into like my highlighter, I can really buff it through and around the brows and it's not going to mess them up. So what I'm going to do is use the Thrive Cosmetics Buildable Blur CC Cream as my foundation today. I have mine in the shade Light. It is a tiny bit dark, but it's not like too noticeable. So I'm going to use that today. And I just did 2 pumps, which is a lot. For me, usually I can get away with just using 1 pump, but I don't know, to balance out the eye look, I figured it'd be nice to make sure that we have a little bit more of an even base. The great thing about this is that it is a CC cream, and normally when you think of CC creams, you don't think of a lot of coverage, but this has really nice coverage and it is very buildable. I would say you can get it up to like medium coverage. It's not going to give you full coverage ever, but it can be very close to like a high or medium kind of coverage. And I've really just been loving how this has been wearing on my skin lately. It's been beautiful all day long. It gives you a super skin-like finish. It's not too matte and it's also not too glowy. Even more matte foundations sometimes can leave my skin too dewy by the end of the day. But this one, I feel like it definitely does get more dewy on me as my skin gets oilier throughout the day. Just naturally, that's because I have more oily skin. It's just gonna happen. But it stays looking fresh and not like expired. And it's just really pretty. I love it. So I've got a little bit left over on the back of my hand. I'm just gonna take this down my neck a tiny bit. Like I said, it is a little bit dark for me, but once we add concealer, it kind of lightens it up. And then once I add bronzer, especially down the neck, the color kind of evens itself out. So yeah, I've been loving this so much. Now for concealer, this is new to me and I love it. I love it. This is the CoverGirl True Blend Undercover Concealer. The amazing thing about this is it's full coverage. It's got that kind of thicker formula to it, but it's not as cakey or drying as a lot of the other ones. Like the L'Oreal, what is this? Like this L'Oreal Full Wear Concealer, I really do like still, but sometimes it can get a little bit drying looking under my eyes. And this one just looks so creamy and natural all day long, so I really love this. Mine is in the shade, let's see. Mine's in the shade 1.4 Classic Ivory, which is a good kind of color for me. Even when I'm not wearing foundation, I can get away with wearing this and it doesn't look too light or stark white on my skin. I've been loving it. So I just put some on the back of my hand and I like to pick this up with my Real Technique setting brush and just do it in light amounts all over the centers of my face. The other thing I have noticed is there are some days where I'm sort of in a hurry and I don't want to put product on the back of my hand, and I can still just like swipe it on the face just lightly and it still looks really natural once I blend it all out. It doesn't look like I have too much product on, even though it does dispense a lot of product. It looks so good all day. I just love it. I love it. I love it. The great thing about using a brush like this and picking up a product off the back of your hand is this is a really easy way to clean up and shape your eyeshadow if you are doing your shadow first. I like to put it sort of down a little bit low and then really lightly just sort of start buffing it closer and closer to that eyeshadow, and it will just help. My hand up here just hanging out. It'll just help to shape that out a little bit better. I'm gonna take a little bit of that just kind of in this inner corner here and make sure that right under this front part of the brow is not too dark. Sometimes you have to take like one more transition shade after this and refreshen kind of the bottom of your eyeshadow, but even that like looks really good and I don't feel like I need to touch up too much with the eyeshadow. So I just love this color too. It doesn't even look like too brightening, but it balances out the color of this foundation a little bit better. It just is so good. So good. Then the brush that I really like to clean up the edges of my eyeshadow with is this Morphe M209. It's got this really nice kind of flexible bend to it, so it helps to just be really gentle under the eye. And it's big, but it's not like too big to where you can't precisely put that color where you want it. So I really like this. So I'm just gonna make sure that everything over here looks buffed out and that there's no like weird spots where the concealer covered up the eyeshadow and messed up my blend. Pretty. And then the last thing I'm gonna do before I set the skin is with that same foundation brush, I'm just going to kind of buff over everything one more time. This is just gonna help me make sure that everything is blended together really well, and it'll kind of almost pick up some excess product so that nothing's cakey by the end of the day. And then I'll get in kind of close and make sure that everywhere looks like the coverage is even and that there's no glitter on my face. That there's no like imperfections sticking out that like too bad. Then I will go in with powder. I'm still using the Glossier Wowder and I'm still loving it. I'm just gonna keep using this until the end of the time. The thing I like about it is this is the color G11 to G12. It's a perfect kind of color for me where it's not gonna brighten things up too much, but it also doesn't darken my concealer or turn it yellow. And it's really lightweight and blurring at the same time. It's so nice. And I think it's like $15, which I personally think is a really good price point because it's not like Sephora prices, but it's also not drugstore prices. So if you want to spend a little bit more and get something a little bit more quality than a lot of the things you can find at the drugstore, then this is sort of a good step without being like outrageously expensive. So I mostly just focus that on the areas like the center of my face where I have the concealer and then a little bit on the lines on my forehead as well. Now that that's set in place, let's move into bronzer, blush, and highlight. Okay, sorry, I had to take a little second to charge up my camera and I feel like it got really dark. But we just gotta keep plugging along. So I am now on my just like bronzer, blush, and highlighter steps, and I have to say that was really loud. This new product is one of my favorites. It's so good. This is the Hourglass Ambient Lighting Edit Ghost palette. This is the holiday 6-pan ambient lighting palette that they come out with for the holidays. They've been coming out with these for like 3 or 4 years maybe that I know of, and every single year I have wanted this and just not gotten it. And this year I was like, I'm getting it. I had a gift card. They were out of stock for a long time. They came back in stock and I was like, I'm just getting it. And I am so happy I did. This is a really good representation of what the colors look like. It's nice to see in natural light, even though it is a little bit darker in here, because you can really see what the colors truly look like, as opposed to when you see it under like studio lights. It's kind of hard, they look a little blown out, but this is the true color. If you're a little bit darker than me, I would say this can still work for you, but once you start getting into like medium, tan, deep, dark kind of skin, it could start to be a little bit too light for you. But what you get here is 2 like finishing powders. So these are all over face powders that have a little bit of a sort of like soft glow to them. They are so pretty and so smoothing and blurring and beautiful, and I love just kind of mixing them together and applying them all over the face. Then up here in this corner you get a highlighting shade, which is a little bit more of a punchy sort of glowy highlight. Not by much, to be honest. It's still super, super natural and soft. So that's actually something that I really like about this, is that it's not anything too blinding or crazy pigmented. Then you get this beautiful bronzer, which does have some shimmer to it, but it's in a very nice soft way where your skin just looks nice and healthy. Then these 2 shades right here are the blushes. I like to mix these two together. And even though this shade right here, this guy looks a little bit scary and kind of like cherry red, when you blend this out on the cheeks, your skin just looks so alive and so healthy and beautiful and fresh. I just have been loving this so much. So what we're gonna do is start with the upper shades. I'm just gonna mix these two shades together right here to do a little bit of highlighting. That's how I really like to apply it, is just by mixing them together and really just dusting this all over the face. I'm really hoping my camera settings are normal right now, because my face in the monitor is like looking really weird and glitchy, but I don't really know how camera settings work. So if something got off, I don't know what to say about it. These are soft enough though, you can apply them all over. You could use a giant powder brush and put this all over your skin and this will look so pretty. I am a more oily skin type and I do not feel like these accentuate my large pores. I don't feel like they show off any texture. If anything, I feel like they soften texture even a little bit, but they're just so beautiful. But then with that same brush, I'm gonna just do a little bit of more like targeted highlighting with this guy right here and throw this kind of on the upper cheekbones. You can totally see the glow, but it does not look overwhelming at all. It's a great color too. It looks like it'd be a little bit pink, and it is a little bit, but it's more of just like a natural kind of skin tone shade. It's crazy how natural it looks. I freaking love it. My favorite way to apply these is to really, really buff them into the skin. I feel like that's what makes them look the best. And I love kind of buffing them into the brow a little bit too. And then around the outer part of the eye and onto the cheekbone a little bit. You cannot overdo it with a highlight like this, in my opinion. It looks so natural. I wonder if my camera is looking weird because it's so dark out. I gotta hurry up. Okay, now that that is on, we'll move into bronzer. The only thing that I don't love about the bronzer is I love this big brush, but it's really pretty impossible to fit this brush in here. What I typically do then is turn it on its side, dip in this half of the brush, and then dip in this half of the brush, and I just kind of go for it. But this is another one, you can't really overdo it. It just looks so natural. If you guys have any recommendations for a really nice bronzer brush that can buff the product out really well but will fit into this pan size a little bit better, that would be awesome, because it is way too small for this giant brush. And I think for today's look, I'm going to mix the two blush shades as well. So I'll sort of dip into that one, and then I'll just kind of dip back and forth, honestly. Tap that off and then apply that to the cheeks. Sorry, I feel like I'm rushing, because I definitely am trying to beat the sunset. And then since that highlight is so soft, I'm gonna take it in again just to the tops of the cheekbones. Since the blush sort of went over top of it, I feel like I can go back over it and it's not gonna look crazy. Now that that's on, let's see. Okay, I'm gonna highlight the inner corner with this Maybelline Master Chrome highlighter. You can use the highlighter that's from that ambient lighting palette, but I like something that's a little bit more punchy in the inner corner, and this one's definitely a lot more blinding. So that's the only reason I'm dipping into this, but I think the other one does just fine. I've definitely used that in the inner corner. I've actually used it all over the lid and it's really beautiful. But today I just wanted something a little bit more poppy. Okay, now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna turn off the camera and do my brows and my mascara really quick. I'm using the brow powder, well, it's actually an eyeshadow, from this Milani Soft and Sultry palette right here. It's what I've been using for a little while now and it works really well. My Thrive mascara finally ran out of juice. Anyway, so I bought this CoverGirl Exhibitionist mascara. I've used this before and I really love it. The weirdest thing about this though is I can smell it throughout the day and I sort of hate that. But it builds really nicely, looks really like fluffy and full at the same time. So I'm just gonna turn off the camera and do that, and then we'll come back to pick out a lip together. Okay guys, I am so sorry for the lighting adjustment. It does not look good. Okay, but I really like this makeup, and so I just wanted to finish the video. So I had to throw on a little ring light, and yeah, it still looks good, but you can't really see it as well. I actually feel like the eyes look better because you can see the glitter a little more, the blend looks a little more flawless, there's glitter on my nose, but everything else looks kind of blown out to me. I just love natural light so much, so I'm really sorry I had to adjust the lighting a little bit. It doesn't look very good. What do you do? So quickly, before we throw on a lip, I'm just gonna put on a little lip balm. I kind of like to rub it in to help get off any like product that got on the lips, but then it also really helps just prep the lips as well. I love how lip products look with a little bit of lip balm underneath to just make my lips look a little bit more perfected and just nice. So now that that's on, I went a little darker with the eyes than I thought, but I still kind of want to do some sort of like a bold kind of fall toned lip. I don't know what that's going to be yet. Let me see what we got here. This looks really pretty and it's not like too dark. This is the Maybelline Almond Rose matte lip. It's definitely not like fall. Whoa. It's definitely not like a fall color, but I could go in with a darker lip liner and sort of fall it up a little. But let's see if we can come up with something better. Let's see. This one's like a berry tone. Ooh, that's really pretty. The L'Oreal Blushing Berry lipstick. This is always such a hard decision because nude just looks so much better. Like putting on a nude gloss, you know? Okay. Let's look at a couple. Whoa. Oh my gosh, I am dropping everything. Let me try a couple different options here. Pretty, not quite what I'm going for. Could go super dark. Might be kind of fun. Not going anywhere, so. Or a little more orangey. It's kind of summery. Nope. Ooh. Ooh. Wait a second. I think I'm gonna put on red. I did it, I decided. I'm gonna use this L'Oreal I Am Worth It lip product. This doesn't have any other names on it, but you guys have seen these, right? They're kind of more of a liquidy formula and they dry down really nice and thin without being too drying. Now that I've wiped my lips off so many times, I'm gonna put a little more lip balm on. Guys, I did not plan to film this video very well. My camera was not charged. It's 4 o'clock. Well, it was 4 o'clock when I started, so it's like dark out already. And yeah, I just didn't think this through. Okay, I'm gonna try to apply this without a lip liner because I just really don't want to go through all that. But I'm a little nervous because it's so runny. Ooh. Okay, that wasn't as hard to apply as I thought. And I love it. Oh my gosh. It has a really good kind of like pointed applicator. This applicator really helps since it's so pointed but kind of curved to really get those lip lines precise. The thing that I would say is you want to start with not a ton of product because it is liquidy, but you want enough that it gets an opaque layer. Because at first I was getting a lot of like sheer spots on my lip line, so you have to make sure you have enough but not too much, you know what I mean? And then it looks great. Look at this. Oh, so pretty. I feel so festive. Yay, that's exactly what we were going for. Okay guys, so this started out kind of chit-chatty and really light and bright, and it got really dark outside and on my face, and very, you know, rushed and speedy, so I'm sorry about that, but hopefully you enjoyed this look at this video. It was fun to kind of see some new things that I've been using mixed with some old things that I've been loving. So I hope you guys have been having a great holiday season. If there's any videos you'd like to see from me, anything at all, please let me know. Thank you so much for your support. Whether you've just started watching this video or you've watched a ton of my videos already, it means so much to me. So yeah, have a great one and thanks for watching. Bye.